What's going on, guys, and welcome back. Today, we are going to be ranking every single 6-cost card in Marvel Snap, one of the most important cost tiers in the game, and definitely some of the most iconic characters in Marvel. And today, joining me for the tier list is Mr. Snapster. How you doing today, bud?
Doing good. How about you?
Good, man. It's good to have you on the channel. We are going to be ranking the top 6-cost cards from best to worst in Marvel Snap. Going to get to the ranking. We're going to start off with Agatha in alphabetical order. Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so no surprise here, right?
Yeah. No, she's pretty bad. She's fun. I enjoy playing Agatha, but as far as how viable she is, she's definitely F tier. Even if you look at stats for the card, she has like one of the highest negative cube win rates.
She's definitely fun. I think the problem is that her AI is so dog water terrible. It's just so bad. I wish it played similar to the bots in Marvel Snap, you know?
Yeah, that's true. It'd be a bit better if it was like that, but maybe the card would be too good, you know? If it played like bots, it might play better than most people.
What do you think they can do to fix her, though? Or is she always going to just be the meme card of Snap?
I feel like she almost just needs higher stats. If she was like a 616 or something like that, it'd be kind of cool. I mean, she'd be stronger than Destroyer, so maybe that's weird. But my problem when playing an Agatha deck is even the turn you get Agatha out, like you wave into Agatha, she doesn't feel that strong.
No,
or maybe if she can't be destroyed, so like maybe she's unshankable or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
we're not surprised. Agatha, F tier. I don't think there's a lot of time to waste here. Yeah, probably amongst the worst cards we'll talk about today.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Were you
yeah.
struggling between S and A? Because the only reason S is because the deck thinning, right?
Yeah. I was struggling because I feel like some cards deserve an S, and she's like top of
Right
A,
there.
bottom of S. I think we don't see her as much lately. Early on, I feel like she's cracked, and yeah, being able to consistently draw cards, what it's like a 5% chance or something like that you draw them. But sometimes you really don't want to draw her on 6. You want that chance of drawing a card in your deck instead of Chavez.
Right, she helps combo decks until you get to 6, and then have you ever done this where it's like it's turn 5, you're like, all right, okay, I just need one more piece, and you forget that you had Chavez in there, and you're like, oh, well, it's over anyway. Probably one of the hardest ones I'm going to rank today. I did struggle because of the uniqueness, but there's just better 6 drops at the moment.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Wow,
Okay. I had be ready to rock and roll. It's interesting. I feel like Apocalypse, when I'm comparing him to the other ones, needs some stuff to kind of make it work, but he's great with like Dracula. Like, tell me why you went B.
I was like also between B and C, top
Okay.
of C, bottom of B here. He is very predictable. Your opponent doesn't know like your final play, but sometimes maybe you have a Dracula on the board and your opponent sees your Apocalypse just getting stronger and stronger, and instead of, you know, letting Dracula eat your APOC, you might actually play your APOC, which kind of catches him off guard. But yeah, I think he's a little too predictable.
So he feels a bit too predictable for me, but I think he will have a good place eventually. Just this card still needs more even after MODOK, in my opinion. So we're going to decide C or B at the end of the video. We're going to rank them all and average the ranking. But for now, it's going to be close. I think he'll probably settle down to C, but it may be low B. Let's get to our next one. That is Arnim Zola.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, sir.
Ah, okay.
This is why I like you, Snapster. Okay, so I know I'm a big Arnim Zola fan. I think I have to convince others typically. So I'll let you take the floor first. Why do you like Arnim at A?
I think Arnim's great. He's really good right now in the Shuri decks. He's great in a lot of other things. I also think with Nimrod coming out, he's going to be a little bit more prominent.
Oh, yeah.
But he's really good at like juking Shang-Chi's. That always makes me feel good when I'm able to do that. But overall, the card is it's fantastic. One of the best 6 drops for sure. One of the most popular as well.
It's the surprise factor that is so up on my list. The more you play him, the better you get. I see people all the time do Black Panther into Arnim, and it's super easy to telegraph that, right? Especially with priority. But if you can get a bit cheeky with it, I like him for battle mode too because of that surprise factor. But the biggest thing, man, is probably because of the Space Stone and Doctor Doom right now and just bad locations. I like Arnim to get to the closed off locations, which we're getting more of, you know, like Plunder Castle, things like that. So that's why I've got him in A's for his reachability and his overall use, even with armor being somewhat popular.
3, 2, 1.
Go. Okay. I thought you were going to go S for sure. This is a classic. There are just other cards that I think are going to take up the S spot. We're talking about the highest cost in the game, right? So the biggest impacts. Death, obviously, Death Wave is huge. The way you can play Death, how she works. Why did you go for A, not S?
I only want to put a few in S.
Yep.
Is the main reason. She would be like bottom of S, top of A for me. She's really strong though, and fits in a lot of decks. That's why I went with A. One of the best cards, but maybe not S tier.
Would you say above or below America Chavez?
That's a hard one.
I know.
That's a hard one.
I know.
I feel like they're neck and neck, slightly better.
I think, yeah, it's kind of neck and neck. It depends. I think going into Nimrod season, she's going to get even better. She's got a lot of location love. Obviously, Galactus is going to work well with her. Death was probably one of the harder ones that I would have thought I was going to put in the S tier, but I think top of A, if we're being picky. Look, guys, we're not trying to put everyone in S tier. We got to be picky. Only about a few of them, right?
3, 2, 1.
Oh, dude, we are in sync, guys. We have not talked before this, and I thought there was going to be some heavy differences. Okay, this one's easy, right? It's just the con of what can happen outside of the actual good card.
Yeah. There's a big drawback here. I think I actually want to mess around with Destroyer a bit more. With all the leeches running around, he's not too bad. And then maybe in a Dracula dump sort of deck, I feel like Destroyer could be pretty good. Sandman, yeah, he could be a good time. Much better when he was 16 power.
I love the Electro with him, right? And then you just kill Electro. You try to get him out a little early, and then you play the low-cost ongoing cards. I think that's where he fits best. It's weird because I think if they would have just not nerfed him and allowed the meta to start forming differently, I think he could still be 16 because of the con. B feels about right. I was pretty confident on that one.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, we got the first. This is supposed to be a discussion debate, and it's all too easy, man. All too easy. Okay, but this was kind of easy, yeah?
Yeah, I think Doom is just one of the best. Obviously, one of the best 6 drops. He has a lot of surprise factor. He's really good right now because of Arrow. If you don't have priority and you're playing Doom, and Doom kind of wins you the game, it doesn't matter if they Arrow because you're spreading 5 everywhere. He is becoming a bit more common, so you are losing a little bit of that surprise factor, but sometimes I just shove Doom in a deck that he shouldn't be in, and it's actually great.
Yeah, man, for S, again, same with Arnim Zola, can get to like multiple lanes. And the thing is, he's kind of like Arrow. It doesn't matter how popular he gets because he still does the crazy thing that he does, and he isn't in a specific deck, or at least, you know, he doesn't have like a coin deck that only uses Doom. And so that always kind of keeps the opponent on edge. I would say probably when all is said and done, he might be towards the end of S, but he's definitely more of the top tier cards right now in Marvel Snap.
3, 2, 1.
Go. Oh, the first big bad Galactus, dude. I mean, right now where Galactus stands, and for the foreseeable future, he's just frustrating to play against. Like, just an easy out. He has great follow-up, and I think he's one of the decks, Snapster, that if you learn how to play him really well and like dance the priority and really figure that out, it's pretty obvious when to leave, when to win 8 cubes, when to get 4 cubes. Galactus is nasty. You took him up, you used him a bit last season, yeah?
Yeah, I took him pretty much infinite. I think I finished it with a different deck, but this got me from like 80 to like 94 really quick. He's just incredibly powerful, especially when comboed with Knull. I think he's a Giga Chad.
The biggest thing I see with Galactus when I'm playing just people on the ladder is they're not being surprising enough. I think I really are gone are the days, I think, of like Sabretooth, Wolverine, Galactus. It's just a bit too obvious of the prediction. And Snaps, at least on my end, I think he does so much better in decks that you have virtually no idea, or you do like a ramp deck in disguise almost, is what I'm liking a bit more.
Yeah, like the Thanos Galactus,
it's so
sort
good.
of big bad Thanos Galactus and Knull decks where you actually use, what is it, a Time Stone in order to ramp him out. That was catching a lot of people off guard. Thing is, you need to disguise that you're Galactus while also carrying those ramp cards.
Yeah.
So having Wave or Electro.
Well, Sandman's popularity, I think, helped Galactus because Electro is now kind of used more. Like before Sandman, if you saw Electro, you were kind of always ready. But yeah, good card. Great card, man. I still can't believe they took him down from a 6'3 to 6'2 and called it a nerf. It's only helped him. That 1 power is actually a big deal.
3, 2, 1.
We finally had ourselves a little bit of separation. Now, I did think about it. I thought about C, thought about B. The reason, I mean, let's talk about the con, right? Obviously, right now, you can't play him in other lanes, and it's pretty easy. I think the biggest thing going for him is who the hell is playing Giganto and to get that 14 power. He, in my opinion, fits best in control decks where you're kind of working on one of the other 2 lanes first, but there's too much that can mess him up, you know?
I just don't think he's that good. I wish he was 5 power.
Okay.
Sorry, not 5. 5 energy, or if he had more power, because something like a Red Skull at 5 energy is just so much better. Red Skull does have that drawback, which Giganto also has a big drawback, but you can like 0.
You really nailed it when you were talking about Red Skull, because I think right now Red Skull's power is kind of the problem. If you look at the other 6 cost, right, you have Hulk that kind of justifies the vanilla stat. You have like the drawbacks for the other ones. And so Giganto can't be too high, but Red Skull's 15, and it's kind of awkward. I think he's the problem, not the 6 cost.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, let's go. What did you think I was going to put?
I thought you were gonna put C.
Yeah, I thought you were going to put C, to be fair, but it's Heimdall outside of move decks, which this isn't new, found info, but that's what gets him the B. And even in move decks, even if you expect him to come, if you play the move deck right, I think he's still a B. I think he does well at what he does.
I think, yeah, I want to experiment more with just playing Heimdall as that surprise card that you really need to put in your deck instead of, like a Doom. Maybe you just end up Heimdalling, so your opponent thinks they're going to win a lane, and then you just do the old Heimdall push, and you move everything left, and you end up winning. He's also great for getting into locations that you can't normally get into.
He feels like a good card. I think it'll be extra fun if we can get a card that moves everything right, and then you kind of have this like either or option, and it adds more variance to move. Would you have him above or below Apocalypse?
Above.
Okay, awesome. I would agree too. Heimdall's fun. He's a good card. Don't play him enough, and that's largely due to move.
3, 2, 1.
This is ridiculous. We are matching up on everything, man. I guess that's a good thing, though.
Yeah,
but
we have same brain. We need some debate.
To switch this up. But but I think this is one that coming in as a viewer might confuse people a little bit because, when you lose to Hela, you're like, I got clapped, like completely. Why do you put her at C, not B, not A?
She's random. She's predictable. And it's mostly just that randomness. Even if you're able to pull her off, she ends up putting all the cards in a lane you don't actually need them to go in.
Yeah.
And you just lose. Or when you're discarding, you'll accidentally hit your Hela or something. It's just, we need more targeted discard, I think, in order for Hela to be better. Hiding Hela and all your discards behind an invisible woman, it's just too readable. Your opponent knows what you're doing. So yeah, just you need to have a little bit of a surprise factor in there, and Hela just cannot.
If Cosmo gets nerfed in any way, she'll be one of the first people I look at, but as of now, it's like there's just too much to mess it up. Even Polaris, dude, can completely screw her, So, yeah, C tier feels good to me, and I don't think there's much debate there.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh,
I was waiting.
an F.
I was waiting for it. I thought you were going to give it an S tier with how much you love Helicarrier. I swear you had 10 videos in a row once. I was like, Helicarrier, deck of the century. Sell me on Helicarrier, my friend.
Helicarrier is just a fun card. I don't think it's as bad as a card like Agatha. I think it doesn't deserve an F. If there was a D tier,
yeah, okay,
probably go in D. If there was between a C and an F, it's probably there. It's very niche. It's good in Dino decks, but generally it's also one of the first cards that's cuttable within those decks. It could get you some fun things. You got the classic Sif into Ghost Rider play, which just brings a ton of power in one lane. I think he needs a little more power.
Yeah, I mean, you are a member of the HLA guys, the Helicarrier Lover Association. He's always been a big Helicarrier guy. Here's the thing for me, it's just there's always feels like another play. Either another play or, like you said, kind of like it's the first card out. Yes, you can get some random cards. I'm kind of all over the place. I love Agent Coulson. I like the random cards. I wish there was a bit more than just 3 random cards. I wish there was some type of prediction into what you might get, but
Yeah.
Top of F, if that makes you feel better. I would put it at top of F, but
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, buddy. Okay. I feel bad too. I feel bad putting Hulk here for a little bit of time, he had some small surprise factor, like in the early pulls. Patriot, he can get something done. I actually think the vanilla stat needs to go up on Hulk. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. 13, maybe?
13 feels good. The fact that Magneto, the con is not there for Magneto, right? Like, you use Magneto for you, and that's where it's like, I like Hulk as a vanilla card. It's fun to the lore, just like he's just big. He's a big card. He's a big dude. But yeah, when are you ever thinking Hulk? Like, ever in your decks?
You never put Hulk in your deck. I don't think. If you're running like Patriot or something like that, you're playing like Ultron or something instead of Hulk. You're not. He doesn't see play.
You're going to use him most if you unlock Lockjaw or Hela early, or you play a Jubilee deck, then yeah, absolutely. The thing is, though, his replacements are not only just like better cards, but, you know, Magneto's going to fill that spot, and it just, yeah, he does not work. Buff the Hulk. He's got to get a little bit better. Kind of wish they did like a Bruce Banner into Hulk, like some type of gimmick there rather than just the Hulk. Yeah, for sure. But okay, F tier.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, sir. Yes. And I'm a big Knull fan too, but I don't think he's quite S. I do think he's underplayed outside of Galactus. I'll stand by that. Nimrod's going to make him even better.
Yeah.
But is it really just Galactus that puts him here for you?
He turns, again, the Galactus deck from a 1 to 2 cube winner into a 4 or 8 cube winner, which is why I love him so much there. But he is very niche at the moment. Nimrod could change things. If you're playing against a Nimrod, Knull might be fine.
The thing I like about him is you almost have to play him before 6 if you're not doing Galactus. I think he needs to come out before 6. No one wants to waste an ongoing card like Enchantress or Rogue on him because odds are he's going to be out there as a 0 to start out. But what I will say, Snapster, is I think he will be an S tier because we're going to continue to get destroy cards. We're going to continue to have 1 cost come in that you can kill Monger, Negasonic, who just kills anything. I think is going to be a play. You can do Knull and then Negasonic and just instant power boost. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes.
3, 2, 1.
Yo.
Yeah.
Listen, yeah. Talk about nerfing something to absolute oblivion. And can you find a niche situation? Maybe, sure. I don't know. Kang, a little bit. Dude, they talk about not only just nerfing a card, Snapster, but they like made it as confusing as possible. And I think people just don't know how to play him now, too.
I still don't know how the card works. I haven't played him once. He's like a glorified Claw, but I think Claw is a little bit better.
That's a good way to put it.
I just don't think he's reliable enough, consistent enough to include in any deck.
Yep.
You want to put in cards that are good in most situations, and this is just not that card.
I mean, it comes down to this, right? It's the Ronin and Devil Dinosaur debate. Cards that you can control, I think, are always better than cards that you kind of hope on other things to happen. And you're just hoping that locations are open. You're hoping that you have those locations open. You're hoping that nothing screwed it up, too, like a Central Park. There's just, I don't even think if you buffed his power. I mean, I don't know. What power would you even put him at?
Maybe 6'9", then he's on Chavez's level.
Yeah, you would pick 6'9". All right, we're going to both put him at the F tier. Leader, sadly, is towards the bottom. Probably, what, a half inch above Agatha?
Maybe a full inch.
Okay, full inch. All right, we'll go full inch.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh, okay. All right, this is where I was a bit lenient, but man, I love Magneto. Like, he feels so good right now. I get the A. Tell me why not S, and we'll start there.
I feel like he's bottom of S, top of A, and again,
Yes.
I'm trying to be real selective with which cards go in S. Right now we have Galactus and Doom in there, and I think both those cards are better than Magneto. I do think Magneto is great. I put him in a lot of decks. He can do a big surprise, which is what you want in a 6-drop, being able to pull your opponent's Darkhawk and Moon Girl and Rock Slide all to a different lane that they thought they were going to win, and then all of a sudden, surprise, you're not going to win that lane. It feels really good.
Control is phenomenal. Storming a lane, they're going to play probably a 3-drop to contest it, and you just end up dragging it somewhere else. If you want to go super cheeky, you can wave and then play him to move a Cosmo if you want to try to play into that lane. The thing that sold him for the S tier for me is just how much you do put him in decks. He is one of those more of a must-slot card, and I would say he's a top 10 or close to it in the token shop. It's tough. So you would say, would you put him above American Chavez right now? I think that's your bar for A.
Yeah, okay. I would put him above Chavez. He's one of those cards where it's like, oh, I'm missing a 6-drop. Do I put Doom or do I put Magneto?
Exactly.
And generally, I'm putting Doom. but
Yeah.
Magneto's like a close call there.
3, 2, 1.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh. I thought you were going B for sure. I 100% thought you were going B.
I think he's bottom of A, but is he better than Chavez? I feel like he's kind of very similar. The thing is, the reason I put him in A is right now he's quite good because I do think Sand Ramp isn't bad. By doing, Sandman into Doom into Odin, that just wins games. It's great.
It's less telegraphic too, like once you get towards the later ranks, because people don't play him that much. He's super punishing, which I love as well. You don't have to rely on just like getting Cosmo because there's a lot of on reveal, right? Like if you go to on reveal, it's their staple kind of starting archetype. So he kind of fits into more than just a standard on reveal deck.
3, 2, 1.
I brought Snapster on, guys, because I thought there was going to be some really seriously split decision action. And, dude, we're two lined up. I guess it's good, but it's bad for content, maybe. I don't know. C tier for Onslaught. I think he is underplayed. I will start there. I do like that he's a 7, so he can't be Shang-Chi. But what made him in C for you?
He's not played. And I feel like generally any deck he's in, he's kind of the most replaceable card. I do see a lot of people running him in like Patriot lists, which aren't that good at the moment. But I think he's the worst card in there. I actually replace him with Doom in Patriot lists. I don't really know what else he goes in. Like he'd be fun in a Claw deck, maybe? I don't really know.
I think a Destroyer ramp with some ongoing with him as an option into Claw, into Captain America, into these, he obviously spikes things up to a big degree. Do you think he could be a 6-8?
I think he'd be a 6-8 and still see just as little play.
Yeah, really? Yeah. Okay. All right. What
I
would
do
help
think
him?
he's. What would help him?
Better
Oh,
ongoing.
God.
Better ongoing cards.
Probably better ongoing cards. I think he can be a problematic card where if we get a really, really strong 5-drop ongoing, he could just catapult that. Generally, where I am seeing him is like Khazar, Blue Marvel, Onslaught, which is very, very good in like pool 2. But other than that, it feels like you're just overcommitting to a lane you're already winning.
I don't know. He's an awkward card. Long live the Exodia days of his crazy combos before players got smarter. But okay.
He kind of got nerfed, right? He stopped being exponential and he started being additive, I think.
Yes.
So...
Yep. That was the big change. He was kind of nuts in beta back in those days when you could get some crazy things to pop off.
3, 2, 1.
I am shocked, Snapster. How dare you disrespect Shamu? How dare you?
So I got Orka the day he came out, and I set off like hours. I blocked off like 3-4 hours of my stream. I'm like, I'm gonna make a good video surrounding Orka, and I got like 2 wins in 4 hours. And I was like, if I make a video saying Orka's okay, I'm lying. He's like the worst card I've ever seen. We just saw Namor get a buff. Namor's a 4/11. And Orka is a 6/14, so you're spending 2 more energy for 3 power. That is garbage. He needs to get +2 here.
Looks fun on paper. I think if they do make him a 6/11 in that area, which I think is a fine stat line. Like it makes sense if you look at Namor.
Thanos.
I like him as a surprise. I think he could maybe work in a ramp deck in the future at some point, but then you don't want to play him early. He's a weird card, and sadly, towards the bottom. So better than Agatha. Do we have finally a contender that could take the throne, the crap throne?
I think he might be worse than Agatha. Do you think so?
Honestly, I think you can make him work in less decks. So yes, I think you can actually make an Agatha deck work. Whereas like, I don't know. If you're out there, Orka Infinite player, you tell us. You come, I will have you on a podcast.
3, 2, 1.
I mean, do we even talk too much about this one? Just come on. The amount of time I've spent on YouTube just glorifying right now currently the best or second best card in Marvel Snap. She-Hulk, since the day she was announced, I just knew she was going to be one of the most cracked cards in Snap, man. What do you have to say?
With the current meta, it's like you can just shove an Arrow and She-Hulk in any deck and it becomes better.
Yep.
So she goes everywhere. Float on turn 5, turn 6, you put her in a 5-drop. It's crazy. You can wave on 5, float 2.
Yep.
And then on your turn 6, you could do She-Hulk, Death, Arrow, or you could do She-Hulk and Doom. That's a fun one. It's too good. It's just too good.
It is too good. You could play her on 4 for 10, by the way, like just great value, no drawback. She goes in the Infinaut list, and then hey, what's the most played card in Marvel Snap right now? Do you know the answer? Is it Arrow? Is it Arrow?
Is it?
I was gonna say Sunspot. Yeah. So obviously, top 3 played card, Sunspot, I believe, is in like 55% of games in Snap at the moment, and there's just no drawback to having that combo together. So She-Hulk, no question. Put her in a Lockjaw. Put her in any deck, and she's gonna work.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Okay.
Ooh,
All right.
Okay.
I like it. Although you do not have to twist my arm to say C tier. I'll be honest. It's not a huge crazy take to say C tier. I'll let you start. Talk to me.
I think Spectrum was incredibly powerful back in the ongoing Destroyer days. Just as an alternate line instead of Destroyer, sometimes you'd Spectrum and hit, 5 targets, making her a 6/15. Like that was great, but those days are kind of behind us. Spectrum just doesn't fit in enough decks at the moment. She's just not meta, and she's kind of replaceable. You're working hard to try and get her as a 6/15, where you could just play Doom instead, or you could do, on turn 6, Arrow and She-Hulk or something like that, or just play Magneto for reliable stats. She's great for, I guess, a surprise in the sense where maybe your opponent thinks you're not playing Spectrum. You got a full lane. They think they've already won.
So right now I have her here at B minimum just because of the Thanos ongoing deck does really well at the moment. You have the Soul Stone and Power Stone. Both have ongoing effects. I like her with Valkyrie. I like her with Professor X plays and trying to, if you whiff, you can kind of boost that up. She felt like a B because I think she's better than she's played. I think 5 power is kind of hilarious. There's just not enough ongoing cards to play on curve. I think it's her biggest issue at the moment. But like Lizard going to a 7, Namor, I don't know. I think low B feels good on my end.
Yeah, top C, low B.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, come on.
He's cracked. He's just I think he's probably, do you think he's better than She-Hulk? I think he's definitely in the best deck in the game right now, which is Lockjaw Leech. Or Leech Lockjaw, whatever you want to call it. I do think the best card in that deck is Lockjaw. So I think without Lockjaw, Thanos might be a little bit less good. I think he might be A if Lockjaw didn't exist.
I think it's the mix of both the Quinjet and how crazy that card is alone. And then the tech, man. The Space Stone alone is probably what I would have as his biggest problem. I actually don't think he needs much adjustment. The Space Stone just renders Storm useless, renders a good amount of cards, and this is the stone that I think is the biggest problem with Lockjaw, even over the Time Stone.
I hate Reality Stone too, but I think Space Stone should work like Cloak.
Yes, I did see that. I like the idea of Space Stone for that. Reality Stone is always like solid, like just to get you out of a jam or
I just hate it because I can't play Magic.
Yeah, exactly, right. Or Storm. Again, Storm has now 2 large counters that I couldn't play in tournament play because of the existence of Thanos. Time Stone, obviously Leech on turn 4 is just ridiculous at the moment. And then Mind Stone, if you start with that, it's like have fun. And then, you can just add 3 power at any time.
The stone's alone, and then he's 11 power. Buff Orka to 11. Like, come on. But I think the thing about Thanos is you get a reliable set of cards. The stones are actually quite good. You can almost just put in a bunch of tech cards and Thanos, and you have like a solid deck that's going to cycle, it's going to draw. And he's just too good.
3, 2, 1.
It's okay. I get it. I thought you were gonna go B. This was the biggest one. I thought you were gonna go B, and I would have said, "Hey, I'll join you down there." C tier. Who starts first on their case?
I want to start with. I almost put B, but I wanted there to be a bit more discrepancy between us because we're getting towards the end here.
That's why I went
A. I think he's just too readable if you float a turn. I feel like he's a bit niche. He doesn't see too much action lately.
Yeah, so I had him in here because of where he fits into other places, like with the Zoo deck, with having him and obviously Lockjaw and Hela, which we won't give him boost there. Jubilee decks for a long time to come. I would say the weakest part of him is just like playing him as an Infinaut, like just skipping 5. That's clearly the worst play. Obviously, the miracle play of doing the skipping 6, having 30 power or more to play on turn 7 is nice. I just feel like as far as how he plays, I think we both went aggressive on our ranking. He's definitely going to settle on B, I think, in our average ranking.
I think we'll probably average him to B. So he's kind of a soft leech counter in a way.
He does. I mean, it does feel bad having him just sit in your hand, though, to finish the game. That's happened so many times. So it's interesting to, see where he goes. Obviously, he gets better with leech. We'll have to see. Biggest discrepancy, though, goes to Infinaut.
3, 2, 1.
How dare you? How dare you, good sir? What do you have to say for yourself?
I think he's actually pretty good. Yeah, I think if you have a blue Marvel or you have a Patriot, he slots in there quite well. I used to love the Patriot deck. I just feel like it's fallen out of popularity and it's just not as strong at the moment as it once was. You need to make sure you don't have priority so you don't get killmongered. He's good. He's good. He doesn't see much play, so I guess he needs a bit more tinkering around with, a little bit more playing with, kind of like Heimdall is. So I'd be fine with top of C.
For me, it's a couple things. Like Doom goes wide 5, right? He goes 4 if you have nothing else. He gets better as Khazar and Blue Marvel show up more often because you have a way to kind of sneak them on the board and not be telegraphic. If he's just in Patriot, I'm fine with having him as C, just predictable. I can't tell you how many free wins of just like Cosmoing with priority and that's it. Surprise Ultron decks, though, like on Sandman even, if you can play it right, I think he's better than people think because he fills up like crazy. All right, guys, so me and Dexter, we talked about it, and this is our final rankings in order from left to right on what we think is the best and the worst 6-cost cards. Now, Dexter, we made some changes for sure here, and I think we'll start in the F tier. We
put Helicarrier in F. It's a sad day. But just looking at the C cards, I felt like he was a little bit worse than them. I think if we fit a little D in here, I think he would be D tier. But we have no space for a D here.
For a little D. Yeah, so what's funny is when we looked at the list, when you can see everything together, it kind of is a bit more obvious. We did that on some of these other ones where they just feel like they're not in the same league as the ones they're in, and that kind of ultimately made the decision. Not a lot to say about C tier. This was kind of our final rankings. And then for the B tier, this is probably the most shift that we have seen compared to what we ranked him. We both actually had Odin at A tier. We can start there. Why did we move Odin from A to B?
Just looking at A as a whole, it just seemed like Odin was a bit outclassed by everyone else we put in A, so we thought we'd put him at top of B.
For sure. Heimdall is probably one that people might be a little jumped out at compared to some of these for sure, like Destroyer, Infinaut, Apocalypse. Why would you have Heimdall right here in your opinion?
I just think he's a bit underrated. I think he can be implemented in a few more decks, have that surprise factor. That's something I plan on doing with my decks in the future. And he's just, I don't know, he's a bit more flexible, it seems like, even though he really doesn't see that much play at the moment.
He's a bold move, and I think a lot of people don't love bold moves, and that's what has him not in a lot of play. But if you get comfortable and the more you do it, and the more you track your opening turns, I think he can be a lot better. Destroyer could go way up if we find a deck right now. I feel like, again, this is kind of his middle ground. He voted C, I voted A for Infinaut. We ended up on B, and then followed by these. These kind of felt almost perfect in their rankings. A tier, I did fold. I had Magneto in S. He had Magneto in A. Again, though, when compared, he's tough with Doom up there, is what I got to say.
Yeah, I guess he's kind of neck and neck with Doom. I do think Doom kind of is a little bit better. That's why we put him at S. But I feel like Doom could almost go to A. I do feel like he's a bit outshined by She-Hulk, Thanos, and Galactus, but bottom of S. He's just so prominent at the moment. He's very good.
Absolutely, and this is why we moved Odin down. If you look at these, like Death is our number 2 for sure. Very great at 9 cost, but 6 cost card. Chavez is just unique and works across the board. And then these two kind of flip a coin. They're both great in their own ways. We think Arnim was a bit more flexible, yeah?
Yeah, Arnim much more flexible. Knull very niche right now at the moment.
Yep, and then top tier, we had She-Hulk now. This is actually harder than we thought. We do have her as the best card right now for 6 cost, even though she's barely a 6 cost card at times. But, officially she is the best. And then Thanos, Galactus, Doom, huh? Explain that a bit.
She-Hulk and Thanos were really close. They were neck and neck, but yeah, we felt like She-Hulk's a bit more flexible. She's in more decks. Thanos is just in Thanos decks, I guess. Galactus also very good at the moment. Just being able to combine with Knull, get these big wins.
If there's an A+, I feel like Doom, Magneto, Death, and even Chavez could sneak in there. Then Odin would go back up to A with Arnim and Knull. Is what maybe Chavez would be on the line, but I feel like the A+, like they're kind of, it's a floater.
Yeah.
This is our official list for the month of March. If you guys want to see us do this again for another tier, or if you guys want to see us do 6 cost on just a somewhat regular basis because of how important these cards are, let us know down in the comments below. Snapster, thanks for joining for this tier list.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
You are the Agatha Whisperer, but she's still the second worst in the game. All right, guys, be sure to check out Snapster's channel. I'll put it down in the description below. And until the next one, happy snapping.